Hello and welcome to today's episode of Agent Stories. Today I'm with Danny and I don't actually know whether you're Danny Walker or Danny Walker Rice. So Danny, which we'll come on to in a moment, used to be a professional footballer back in the UK. So tell us about your sporting background and then how the move to Dubai came about.
So when I was 5 or 6, I started playing in academies, playing football, and that's all I had. Literally football. And then I turned pro in 2018. So I was pro for 2 years.
How did Dubai come about?
I was just getting a bit sick of it and thought, I need a bit of a change. So we come on holiday and my friend's friend is mates with Mark, the managing director. I got speaking to a few people, I had a little look online, and I just thought, you know what, it sounds good, give it a go, and then I haven't looked back since.
Do you think your career in football and professional football and therefore professional athlete has helped in any way in the job?
I was speaking to someone about this the other day. With me being in that environment from a young age, it's a high pressure environment, it's relentless. Getting that drilled in you from a young age, it really does go a long way.
What was hard when you came over?
Just adapting to this sort of environment, it's so hard to describe because when you come in and do it, you're like, wow.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of Agent Stories. Today I'm with Danny and I don't actually know whether you're Danny Walker or Danny Walker Rice.
It's actually Danny Walker Rice.
Is it?
Double barrel, yeah.
We've just cut one barrel off since you've joined.
Yeah, we have.
And I only know that from an interview I've watched of you before we did the pod from I'm not sure, I was going to say Sky Sports, I don't think, I know, or was it Sky Sports? Or it
was on Sky Sports and that went on YouTube, didn't it?
Yeah, so Danny, which we'll come on to in a moment, used to be a professional footballer back in the UK. In fact, let's come on to it now. So tell us about your sporting background and then how the move to Dubai came about.
So when I was 5 or 6, I started playing in academies, playing football, and that's all I had. Literally football. And then 16 went full-time football, and then at that point, at 16, everyone wants to be a footballer, don't they?
Yeah.
And that was me. I just thought, I'm going to be a footballer, this and this. And then I turned pro in 2018. So I was pro for 2 years and then and when I was a bit like what's going on here, and then I come back to footy, and when I come back to footy it weren't the same. I just weren't really enjoying it as much, and then I actually left, and then obviously that's how this come about.
Why do you think you weren't enjoying it as the same, or what was different?
I think it was a lot of confidence, and I just felt I weren't playing much, and it was like anything, you know what I mean? I was just getting a bit sick of it and thought, I need a bit of a change. Yeah, but the thing about it, a lot of people, when they do stop playing football, they sort of just reminisce on it all the time and this could have happened. And with me, I sort of left it and thought, you know what, something else is going to come
You were
up.
happy to, yeah.
I went too run down by it. I thought something will pop up, and obviously this is what happened.
So how did Dubai come about? How did you hear about it and the job and Allsopp Allsopp?
It was a bit of a blessing in disguise. So I had a little break from football. It was in February, so I decided me and my friend come on holiday here. So we come on holiday and my friend's friend is mates with Mark, the managing director, and we went out one time just to watch the footy, just casually, and I got speaking to Mark and he was like, what you doing? I was like, I play footy, and I was like, you know what, I'm not really enjoying it. And he could see what sort of person I was. I'd just talk to anyone. Yeah. I'd like to think I've got a bit of a personality. And he just got speaking and he was like, well, this is what I do. My friend already told me about it. And he's like, this is what I do. Let me know if you want to have a little chat. So I thought, you know what? I do like the sound of it. And I got speaking to a few people. I had a little look online. And I just thought, you know what, it sounds good, give it a go, and then I haven't looked back since.
For anyone that doesn't know Mark, because he does hide himself away a little bit on social media, he's been on the podcast.
Yeah.
Mark I think portrays himself in Dubai as like the Lord of Liverpool.
Yeah.
If anyone is a Scouser, they are instantly under Mark's wing. They've got a job, and he looks after them, basically. I think I've often joked with him that we have, in Dubai, for those that know, we have Dubai land. I'm sure Mark's saving up to develop like a Scouse land, somewhere out there in the desert. So, but yes, it's no surprises if you've got talking to Mark that he's got you aboard. Yeah.
No, Mark's been brilliant with me from the get-go. Obviously, it's hard coming over here on your own, but obviously there's a lot of Scouts here, so
you're well looked after.
Yeah.
But this is quite interesting, because one of the things we're trying to do with this is shed a light on what it is like to be an agent. So, what was hard when you came over?
I think just adapting to this sort of environment. Like, anyone who asks me, like, what's it like doing this job, it's so hard to describe, because when you come in and do it, you're like, wow. Because I spoke to people who worked here before I was like, oh, what's it like? And they were like, yeah, it's really hard for you first, whatever. And then you get into it, and I was like, oh, it can't be that hard. But then when you come into it, you're like, yeah, this is, your first 6 months is very tough, but after that, it's really good.
Yeah, I think I always say to new people when you join the company, it's the 6 months is kind of the marker. If you can get to 6 months and over, that's when you really start to settle in. But the job itself the basics of the job are really simple. Yeah. The hardness is just the relentlessness of it.
Yeah, that's it. And especially in my area, like, everything, it's literally 100 mile an hour, and obviously who I work with are 100 mile an hour, which everything in our area is team based. Like, if we haven't got that team out there, none of us do as well as we do, and that is a big part of how everyone does so well.
So we'll come on to the area in a minute, but what you just said there about team kind of leads into a question I had, which is, do you think your career in football and professional football, and therefore a professional athlete, has helped in any way in the job?
Definitely. I was speaking to someone about this the other day, a friend from home. So with me being in that environment from a young age, it's a high pressure environment. It's relentless. So getting that drilled in you from a young age, it really does go a long way as you go along. But yeah, definitely helped out, I think. Yeah.
So the area that you do is Dubai Marina. Mm-hmm. So what was in your first week or so, what was your impression of Dubai Marina, and has it changed since? Have you think any different of it? Or
the thing about the Marina, coming in as an agent, I think it's such a tough area to go into because of how big the place is and how many towers there is, and you've got to know everything, because I went into leasing first, which I think that helped me a lot, because I was in the area, I was doing viewings, and you just get to know everything. But coming into the area, it's tough.
So that's the area I started in, the Marina, 12 and a half years ago, and I know exactly what you mean, because you stand there on your first day by the water and you're looking around and you're like, whoa.
Because it's so busy as well, you're like trying to park up, and you're like, oh, and you end up parking 20 minutes away. Yeah. So I started in the middle of the summer. So I'm trying to go to viewings and pulling up somewhere, I'm nothing to walk 20 minutes away, I turn up, I'm soaking wet. It's tough, but
it's the less glamorous side of selling sunsets and everything you see on everything you see on TV.
Definitely, yeah.
So how have you got to know the area? Like, how long did it take to settle in and build your knowledge up?
To be honest with you, I think I learn more every day about the area. Like, I think there's still a lot more to know, but I'd like to think where I'm at now, I am pretty comfortable. I could tell you everything about the place, I'd like to think.
Yeah. And who lives in the Marina? Like, who rents, who buys? What's the typical clientele?
Your typical, it's a lot of couples and singles. It's not really very family orientated. There is a lot of, because it's like a city-esque area. But location wise, I just think Marina has just got everything you need. It's got bars, it's got everything's just in close proximity. You've got the beach, you've got the palm, everywhere is pretty close by.
Yeah, so my wife and I were down there at the weekend, and we've done what everybody does. You come over to Dubai and you live in the likes of Marina, Shoreline, downtown, JBR, and you live that lifestyle. And as you get older and you have kids, you
sort
kind
of
go out to the villa communities.
I think it's because it's such a popular area. If you speak to someone who's never been here, like where you stay in Marina, and that's the first thing what comes to people's heads, because it is such a popular area.
Oh, since I've been here, so again 12.5 years, every single month it's the most searched for area on the property portals. Mm-hmm. But we forgot, because with kids and everything, you don't go out as much and everything else. You forget how good it feels down there, how much life there is, the bars, the restaurants, the activity.
It's like when you obviously don't live there and you come into the area, it's like being on a little holiday, isn't it? Like you've literally got everything you need there, and it's nice to just have a little walk around and.
Well, 100%, yeah. Like I say,
everything's just really nice down there.
So I've got some questions that Alini, our head of PR, has written down for me to ask for you. The first one is quite interesting, actually, and maybe you could explain what the question is: has the Dubai port, I think Creek Harbour it's called, added value to the area? But maybe before you answer that, just explain to everyone what the Creek Harbour is.
So Creek Harbour is an EMAR development on the front of the marina, and it's like a new development. It's still coming up, but I think it has added a bit of value, because if you go down there, the prices are pretty extortionate, like for what it is. The sizes aren't as big as the marina, and people are looking in that area and thinking, hang on, does it make sense for me to pay that much for that when I can go 5 minutes down the road into the marina, where you've got malls, bars, everything's ready, and get something for half the price and a bigger square foot? Like,
yeah, he's always on the sell, isn't he? Like, it's a typical marina agent answer. Let's downplay every other area.
But yeah, it is don't get me wrong, it's a really nice development, but do people see the price and think
you prefer the marina? So for those that don't know, the port is or the Creek Harbour is where it's going to be the port for the ferries, which is why we keep calling it the port. So not the ferries, sound like on the Mersey. For the cruise ships. So, and it was one thing that always puzzled me, because Dubai has got such an incredible skyline, and you've got the palm and everything else, but the cruise ships have been like, they were pushed way down that way. And I always thought, and my auntie and uncle went on a cruise probably about 8 years ago and pulled into Dubai, and I always thought, like, not there's anything wrong with where they have been, but what a shame that that's your first impression, because as you're sailing in, you want to see the skyline, the palm, the Atlantis, the Burj Al Arab and everything else. So now people can do that, and this is where the cruise ships are gonna come into dock. And like you say, it's a whole new waterfront community, which in time, I agree with what you're saying. At the moment, I think in time will just be a compliment to the marina. It's a further extension of everything the marina has to offer.
Itself is like, when you look at what they were selling at first and where they're at now, it's crazy. People are just triple and doubling money from when they were buying off plan. I was speaking to someone who's obviously been here a long time, can't remember who it was, and he was saying when they first launched that, they actually literally begged people to buy them, and now you look at them now, they're in really high demand. Yeah,
the market has, as we all know, in the last 2 or 3 years just exploded, really. Okay, so the next question is quite an interesting one from that we've got down here. So is there any other areas you look at in Dubai and think you'd like to work there? And if so, why? And flipping it around, if not, why not?
An area where I really like the area, and it's not even built yet, Tal Al Ghaf. I've been there a few times myself and just thought, wow, because I think it's bringing a different dimension of a community to Dubai. Because you look at your communities now, Dubai Hills, Jumeirah Golf Estates, they've all got sort of a golf course going through them. With that, they've gone obviously with a lagoon going in it, and I think because a lot of people, not many people are into golf. You have like family. I know it's still a nice place to live, but it just gives you something else, like a big lagoon with a beach, and with it being a bit further out, people are like, oh, we haven't got a beach close by, there's your beach on your doorstep.
Well, I wouldn't disagree, because I think it's quite telling that within, I think it's 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was a transaction in Tal Al Ghaf for one of the mansions in the middle of the lagoon for 200 million dirhams.
Lanny Islands, was it?
Yeah, which is... I'm pointing over there because it's just from where we're based, it's over that way. For the area that's surrounding it, he's seen nothing like a 200 million dirham transaction before. So
it just shows as well that the place is expanding every day, isn't it? Like the new launch Himara Oasis, you say that 5 years ago, there's going to be a community so far out, people will be like, absolutely no chance. But I think in the future, it just shows where we're going.
Do you know it does? But if you speak to Lewis, and this is before my time, but when they started building JBR, there's a big, not an uproar, but there's a lot of comments in the time of, because everything used to be downtown way before downtown was even downtown. And it was just so far away, it's ridiculous, all these, I think 36 towers, who's going to live in them all? And obviously there's no marina at the time. I think there was 100 villas on the beachfront. And so that's just what Dubai is. It's just a continued growth story. And
it's crazy.
It's that saying, isn't it, I think from the film, it's if you build it, they will come. And that is what Dubai is at the moment. Okay, the final question before we wrap up is, what is one thing that you would like to get better at over the next year, both personally and professionally? So one of each.
I'd say personally, routine, because I'd like to I'm not really an early bird, to be honest. Getting up, having sort of like a strict routine instead of having like the extra 10-15 minutes in bed. I'm working on that now, to be honest.
Yeah? So what time do you get up?
I tend to get up about 7:20.
No, it's not too bad.
I know, it's not too bad, but I like to get up a bit early and gym, things like that, get that done early, and then you've got the day.
Do you know what? And especially in this job, it's good to get the gym in early because you never know what time you're going to work to at night. So
some days you work until 8-9 o'clock, and you're like, you get home, you have something to eat, and you're like, I'm ready for bed. It really takes it out of you. So get that done in the morning, and then you feel good for it as well, don't you?
100%. And it's a big push a lot of people have been on this year within the company in terms of fitness and the mental side of exercise and working out. And again, especially when it can be a very stressful job, a relentless job. So
and with me as well, I've gone from training every day to not training every day. It is a bit of a transition, but trying to get up and do something in the morning early, I think it just sets you up for a better day. I think it gives just, like a bit more energy. When you're rolling out of bed and you're coming into work, you're a bit like, but if you get up early, go to the gym, you feel good.
And you probably carry that structure into the day as well, especially to the first hour or so in the morning.
Definitely. Yeah.
Good. Well, Danny, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you, everyone, for watching. As always, if you've got any questions, any insights, anything you'd like to know about Dubai Marina, then give us a shout. We'll put them to Danny. If there's enough, we'll come back on, or we'll do a social media reel or one thing or another to hear from Danny again. Yeah. So thank you once again.
Thank you.